Hey, hardcore hog fans. Welcome to Prediction Thursday. I'm with my co-host, George Waddell. What's up, buddy?
Nice to join you from California. Dude, I'm telling you, it has been a great week. When you live in Arkansas and we have like a big victory like this, you go to church, everybody's happy, you can talk, you talk to everybody. It just seems like around here, it's just another Sunday. Nobody's as happy as you are.
Hey, everything around Arkansas has been peaches and cream since we won.
Yeah.
I mean, you're exactly right. Everybody at church is shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah.
Everybody is doing, it's all goodwill and good love here in Arkansas.
Yeah.
No dogs got kicked. It was a fantastic weekend, buddy. And we slid into Monday like it wasn't even a Monday.
No, you couldn't wait to get back to the office and talk to that guy that was talking, so much crap about Arkansas.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And I couldn't wait to talk to my Tennessee.
Even us, we were doomsayers. I mean, everybody on Hardcore Hog had just completely turned on the Razorbacks last week. We had seen like 4 consecutive weeks of almost everybody picking the Hogs. And then last week, it just went upside down. And the only guy that hit.
Matthew Lane, we did have a few good. I mean, we had 3 or 4 people went with the Hogs. I mean, against everything else. And we predicted it pretty well last week with Lang was pretty good considering we kind of spread it all out. And we said, look, there's a path to victory. I've never said that. Like I said in the last podcast, I hadn't said that in 15 years. There's a path to victory, and we had to disrupt the quarterback, minimize turnovers, or at least get 2 of them. And we were net, no turnovers during the game. So I think it all played to our favor. We shut them down, dude. Shut them down.
Yeah, the other thing that you mentioned was them punting the football. They had the potential on every possession. You just knew something was going to happen. Their running back was going to pop one for 80 yards straight down the field. I've seen it with Tennessee before. I mean, it seems to happen to Arkansas a lot, those big plays, but it never happened. The defense held. They had that one big play that got, that kind of flipped the field. But Arkansas as a team faced adversity after not getting all the points they deserved in the first half, and then coming out in the second half and giving away 2 touchdowns early. But it was early enough that we regrouped and had enough at the end to finally win the football game, and clock just ran out on Tennessee. I was so happy to see.
I was a big fan of that. You remember Lang and I mentioning last week that it was going to take 2 turnovers for the Hogs to win this football game. And then I made the comment that basically the more that Tennessee punt, the further back that 2 turnover game is. Because I look at a punt like a turnover with Tennessee. And sure enough, it was enough punt to bring that turnover margin all the way back to 0, that we didn't need any at all. That part was awesome, and that's what we needed for sure. Disrupt Nico, shut down Samson, and of course I can't believe how ineffective their wide receivers are. They have 4 wide receivers. They're studs. And I just can't believe we shut them down. It was a fantastic effort by the Hogs. Game, though, the score was weird, a 19-14 victory. I didn't expect that part. But other than that, there was a path to victory, and we took it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Yeah, so
I wish you could have been there. I wish you could have been there for the people storming the field. When they stormed the field, it was awesome, dude.
You have been to some epic football games, but where does that one rank compared to maybe just give 2 or 3?
What comes to mind right away is the Texas game a few years ago when, again, we stormed the field. I was sitting on the front row in the end zone. I had the mascots right in front of me and the cheerleaders. It was awesome, and everybody went over the wall. Hell, I think my 12-year-old went over the wall. But that was a good one. The last one, though, that I can really remember being there and things going wild was probably that 99 game at Tennessee, against Tennessee again.
Yeah.
I was pretty close to the same spot I was in this time. And I was pretty close. But at that time, the south end zone was wide open. And I'm telling you, the college kid tore down the goalpost and carried it to Dixon Street.
Yep.
Now, this year, if you'd have been able to tear the goalpost down, which you couldn't, if you tear them down this year, there's nowhere to get them out. The only way to get the goalposts out of that stadium now is with rain.
Helicopter.
So there is no feasible way to get the goalposts out of this stadium. But that would have been awesome to see the college kids get that experience.
Well, to get the experience of storming the field, first of all, I mean, it's a $250,000 fine. Sorry, but I think it's worth it, just in the advertising you get on ESPN, because, 5.8 million, I think Susky posted 5.8 million people saw that game, the most of any game on TV that weekend. And so I think that's, for us to win one like that, I had people from all over texting me, congrats on the win, so I've been spreading the Arkansas love around the country. And so people know that I kind of live and die by Arkansas. And when they do come across a score like that, that makes me feel good that people are like, hey, that was a good win, because that was in the annals of Arkansas football. That was right up there in the solid win column.
No doubt. And here's the big question when it comes to $250,000 fine. Would you rather pay UAPB $1.5 million to beat them 70-0, or would you rather pay Tennessee $250,000 to beat them 19-14? You tell me, which is better?
I think we got the money, is what I think. I think,
well, there's no doubt we have the money.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's at this point, I think it's more about, the credibility you get from beating somebody like Tennessee and storming the field, because, I thought Tennessee was going to score 41 points, Rick, and they scored 14.
I know.
Our defense
I was not against that score totally. I mean, I see that, but Lang hit it on the nose when he said this game had a lot of different facets to it, and it could go one of three ways, and it went the way we wanted it to. That's for sure.
Exactly what we were saying last week. We have to run the football and control the clock, and that's what they did. We controlled the clock 10 more minutes in the game, but it was just a great game plan. Defensively, offensively, I was so proud.
Well, you don't see many games like this that go into halftime at 3-0. Let's start there. Secondly, besides us not being able to score that touchdown in the beginning, we missed a field goal, so there was 3 more points. But when you have this kind of a field goal kicker that's missing a field goal every game, or you're not confident in him, there's other times where you're choosing not to use him. So I think we left points out there for sure, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we did enough. We did what it took. I think Travis Williams could get the game ball again this week. His defense was superb in shutting out Tennessee in the first half. But yeah, they made some changes, but they didn't make enough changes to do more than score their 14 points. So I was pleased with the whole deal. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
I wish you could have been there, George. I mean, just the overall celebration.
At what point during the day did you actually eat the soup sandwich, or did you have to carry the soup sandwich around in your pocket?
Well, listen, you might remember I told you that there had to be a feeling in the air. If you listen to the last podcast, when I said there's a 30% chance of the Razorbacks winning and there's a path to victory and all that, I said there had to be a feeling in the air. There had to be all that. So I, myself, Rick DeWeese, woke up at 7 a.m. and went and walked the Popeye 5K.
Right.
Now, listen, I was not in good enough shape to do that anyway, because I might have gone out the night before.
I mean, who is, though?
I survived. Listen, I survived the 5K, and I moved on to brunch at the Popeye house, and saw a bunch of friends and my daughter's friends, and had a great time. And then I went back to the condo and we did what we do there. And, the next thing you know, it's Bloody Mary this, screwdriver that, and high noon here and there.
Now, all
At the
right.
end of the
So wait a
day,
minute.
I'm thinking, yeah,
It's Bloody Marys just to get the
I'm waiting a
smile on
minute.
your.
No, Bloody Marys are breakfast, brother. That's what we eat for breakfast around here. Listen, when I was in SAE up here, our house mother used to mix the Bloody Mary mix in 5-gallon buckets. And let me remind you that when I went to school in Fayetteville, there were no lights at Razorback Stadium. Everything was an 11 o'clock game. Everything. So we woke up in the mornings on Saturday to the house mom making Bloody Mary mix, and friends and family and little sisters and everybody else coming to the house, and we drank Bloody Marys. That's what we had for breakfast. It was a breakfast of champions. So gotta have a Bloody Mary on game.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, one thing of course leads to another. You got to go to the tailgates. You got to go see everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
of course, everybody has a different libation they want to feed you.
and that was in the
And
Hatfield. That was
yeah,
in the
it just
Hatfield
went from there.
years. Was that in the Hatfield years?
Yeah. Hatfield was coach. Hell, I think when I finished college, Danny Ford was the last coach when I left college. They got rid of Hatfield because he ran the ball too much. Yeah. He used to say something about, you know why Kenny Hatfield can't get to the ball game quick enough? Because he's afraid to pass in traffic. Yeah. Hey, when he gets stuck in traffic, why can he not get to the game quick enough? It's because he's afraid to pass.
Well,
I mean, it was all kind of stuff. So I guess they basically fired him for that, and they got Danny Ford, for God's sakes. Well, don't forget, Barry Switzer was the last of the Mohicans when it came to power football.
Wishbone.
I mean, Barry Switzer ran power football all the way through the 80s.
Yeah.
And he never relinquished, even against those big California-style offenses that were running and gunning. But Barry Switzer stuck with power football, and by God, he got it done. And he always covered.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Switzer always covered. So those were the days, though. You're right.
Yeah,
I mean, that's probably the way it turned out. I mean, I was in a great spot. I had a great seat. You saw my little live shot there at the end. I didn't have service for like 4.5 hours, George. And then all of a sudden my phone connected to the Wi-Fi somehow in the stadium. And I logged into the studio and I thought, oh my God, I'm logged in for just a second. Let me start a live feed real quick. I had no idea how it was going to turn out. There it was.
It turned out great because, I mean, you caught
pandemonium,
the last
dude.
play of the game. You caught the touchdown on live studio. I thought
It was pandemonium, too.
ABC thought they had exclusive rights, but no sirree. Rick DeWeese, man, on the ground right there. He had camera 25. Camera 25.
Buddy,
Rick
that
DeWeese,
was something else. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, a great shot of
that was fun, let me tell you.
You couldn't really pick up any of the sounds in the broadcast, but you could tell the electricity, and then when they scored the touchdown, it just was pandemonium. And then the next shot was the field completely full of people. I thought it was classic.
I know. Hey, and I promised in the last podcast, I told Lang, I said, yeah, if we win, I'm going to be down there on the field videoing. And man, look at here. Let me tell you, I looked down on that field. It was jam-packed college kids. I'm like, probably not a good idea that I go down on the field. I'm up here on the hill. Why don't I just look down and enjoy it and not rush the field? And so I stayed away from that part.
So I interrupted you right at the Bloody Mary transition to high nooners, right? So you went from Bloody Mary to high noon, and then you got to the field. You got to the field. Somebody's tailgating, I assume.
Yeah, you go to 4 or 5 different tailgates.
Yeah,
and everybody has their own libation, and you're drinking this or drinking that, doing this, doing that. Next thing you know, it's time to go into the ball game. We did the hog walk. We did it all. We saw the cheerleaders, the mascots. We saw the players walk in, the coaches. I mean, we did the whole experience. Then by 5:30, 5:45 or so, we start to walk into the stadium, and that's when that feeling in the air that I was telling you about, it had already been a great day, but that feeling in the air when you got in there, and then the Navy dropped in 3 parachute guys.
No.
That was incredible. I mean, it was the most kick-ass entrance. One dude slammed into the wall in the south end zone and owned it. He owned it. He loved it. He got up in the crowd and going, yeah. He was raising his fist, but he missed the mark.
Yeah.
But the feeling was in the air.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. It was fantastic. That's when I started thinking, okay. Then we drove down the field on the first drive, and yeah, we had a little trouble getting the touchdown, but kicked the field goal. And I thought, I'm telling you, that feeling is in the air, bro. There is a feeling in the air right now. So apparently it stuck.
It stuck because, the feeling that I had at halftime was nervous because we had played so well and held them down so well, and we're only up 3-0. And then knowing that they get the ball in the second half, we came out and we stopped them, but then they came and stopped us, and then that's when they scored. They scored back. So at that point, you're going, here we go again.
Yeah. Remember too, in the podcast, I said, if it's in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes to go, I'm not comfortable with a 28-7 lead. I don't think there's a Razorback fan alive, especially one that's our age, that would disagree with that statement that I made in that podcast. So certainly when we're down at the end of the game and we go ahead with a touchdown from a backup quarterback and give the ball back to Tennessee with 1.5 minutes left in the game, I am certainly not comfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially when
that in itself, listen, I was on pins and needles with 6 seconds left. So I didn't tell you, I had to sit next to a Tennessee fan for half the game.
Was that who
he
that
wasn't
was?
One of those obnoxious guys.
Okay.
Yeah. He's in the video. He's in the live shot.
Yeah.
He's the guy to my right in the live shot.
Yeah.
But, we were back and forth, and he was a nice guy, don't get me wrong, and he was making jokes, but at the end of the day, he was the only guy in the section cheering when Tennessee did something right. And I'm like, dude, you're going to have to move to another team. You're going to kill him. And so it got down to the last minute and a half. And I told this guy, I said, buddy, you're about to have the best experience of your life. You're sitting 9 rows deep in the end zone. You basically got a front row seat to watch Tennessee crush the Razorbacks' dream right here. I mean, because it happens every single time.
Yeah.
To Razorback fans, we are always heartbroken. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay, great. He looked at me and he goes, I got something to tell you, buddy. And I go, what's that? He goes, we'll certainly find a way to chip this thing up pretty quick. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, we won't get it done. He goes, if y'all are good at it, we're great at it. He said, we will give this thing up and you guys will win the game. And I go, that's very encouraging. I love that. Let's watch the game and see what happens. This is with 1.5 minutes left. Yeah. Hey, when there were 6 seconds left, I'm like, shit, dude, here we go. It's down to your comment and my comment. And when the quarterback ran out of bounds, I wasn't watching the clock. I was watching the first down mark. And I saw that Nico got the first down. And I'm like, here we go. And didn't even think that the 6 seconds had run off the clock. And the clock was at 0 before he went out of bounds. And so I just saw people start to rush the field. I had this feeling of, oh my God, the referee is going to remove everybody from the, because when you're not watching it on TV, you're not capable of keeping up with everything going on.
Yeah.
And when everybody started rushing the field, I was like, oh no, the referees are going to call something and, pull everybody off the field, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, it was zeros, baby.
Zeros, and just what a great celebration too. I mean, it was the time that we needed it, because going into the second half of the season is going to be monumental.
Oh yeah,
monumental. But
I mean, yeah, look at us.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at beating Tennessee, that says that you can beat anybody, especially when Vanderbilt beats Alabama. Nobody looks, just completely invincible right now.
Well, think about it. I mean, we're sitting 4-2. I think you and I both predicted 6-6 with a bowl game win. And we've got Ole Miss to go yet. We've got LSU, of course, in 2 weeks. or next week, we've got a bye on November the 9th. I mean, so after we play Ole Miss, we have a bye week. And then somewhere there's Mississippi State, which I kind of write that off. I'm looking past that game. But we have a bye November 9th, and then we play Missouri
I think so.
after that.
Yeah.
So we might have 2 more games after that. I don't have the schedule in front of me. But nonetheless, we're 4-2. Our next bye is at the perfect spot that it can be. We go LSU, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss, then a bye, and maybe a missing team. And then we've got, La Tech. We got La Tech and Missouri after that. But we have the bye at the perfect time. So all you fact checkers out there, don't be fact checking my exact schedule. I don't have it in front of me. But I'm pretty darn close. I'm pretty darn close to what the schedule looked like.
I got it around here somewhere. Thing about it is,
I think we'll accomplish our 6-6 bid for sure. And like I said in the very first podcast, George, God forbid we do a 7-4. I mean, just back up. If we win 7 or 8 games, back it up. It's going to be ugly.
all right, so here's your fact check. We got the LSU game on the 19th. Mississippi State is next on the 26th.
Yeah.
Then it's Ole Miss. So we've got one,
Then the bye.
then the bye on November 9th.
Then the bye.
And
Yep.
then it is Texas. It is Texas.
So the Texas game, yeah. God, you know what's so bad? I'm like you.
Yeah.
I'm just like you, George. I hate Texas so bad that I don't even think about them, number one. And number two, I certainly don't think about them being in the SEC. And so I don't think it really has hit me that we're playing them as an SEC game this year.
Seriously.
So, yeah, that's right. We go Ole Miss by Texas. Then I think we go La Tech, Missouri.
Missouri. Yeah. That's exactly
La
the way.
Tech, Missouri.
So getting the Tennessee win was huge because the Texas A&M win, I kind of thought, I mean, look, we're 2 turnovers away from being undefeated. That's sad to say, it's the truth. And then you look at LSU next is, they lost to USC, who's kind of struggled. Right? So, but, they've had a string of pretty good wins. So that should be a good matchup, I believe. And that's
yeah. I'm not going to go too much into the LSU game because I don't want to talk about next week's prediction Thursday, but I think we've got a good path towards defeating LSU. I like the way the rest of our schedule looks. I like the way we set up. Everybody's gotten beat. So Ole Miss is not as invincible as I thought they were.
Nope.
Certainly Texas is probably our most formidable opponent that we are looking forward to. So, my forecast is still the same. I mean, I love my 6-6.
Yeah.
I would love to see us just win another game that we shouldn't win.
Yeah. 6-6 looks very doable. And, everybody has shown, some vulnerabilities. And, one thing about it is, the one season Alabama drops off the schedule, they lose Nick Saban and we pick up number 1 Texas. How's that for hog lore?
I know. That's perfect. That's exactly the way it should be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we played number 1 Alabama for 20 years.
20 years.
We dropped Alabama for a minute. Yeah.
And we deserved it. I mean, it's like we would go into the Alabama week on Hardcore Hog. We'd go into the Alabama week. And it would always be like some sort of great, this could be the year, and then it would be like 59-6. And then you just go back on Hardcore Hog.
And remember too,
okay, well,
remember too, if it wasn't Alabama being number 1, it was freaking LSU being number 1.
No shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Arkansas is
crazy.
Arkansas has the most difficult schedule in the nation. Why? Because we don't play ourselves.
Again. Yeah.
We're not on the schedule, so we can't chalk ourselves up for a win. But I really am hoping.
We have a difficult schedule again.
Again, we play every week. We play a game.
I know.
We play a bowl game. Yeah, not like the good old days.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, the
Yeah.
feeling has been in the air. It's been a great week so far, relishing, and then going into the bye week. I mean, come on, no football for us.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch a lot of great games
Yeah.
this weekend.
Yeah.
There are some good football games that are gonna come on, and the great part about it is the Hogs get to sit around and watch that.
Yeah.
And
So-
then we're basically in control right now. You got to manage this LSU game well, and then finish those next two. But it's going to be perfect to have that bye week again, November 9th, and heal up whoever's injured. Speaking of injury, I heard about Taylor Green today.
Mhm.
Looks like it's a bone bruise, and not an MCL or an ACL. So
Hurts.
hopefully that'll bring him back quicker than not. But the awesome thing is I think they're going to work Malachi this week, and he's going to get a lot of reps with the number ones. So when you do that, and Talon does come back, they're hoping he gets back by, Monday, that he can work with the ones all next week, which I'm sure Malachi will be in the rotation. But at the end of the day, that's a hell of a deal. And then KJ is going to be working in there too. So he's basically bumped up to QB2. That kid's a freaking true freshman, awesome quarterback, just kind of sitting back waiting his turn right now.
Yeah.
So I think we're in great shape. We got an offensive lineman coming back. I don't think we're really banged up in too many other positions that we don't need to be banged up in. I mean, I'll be honest with you, our kicking situation has been so terrible that I'm not concerned about him being out. I'm hoping that this other kid can come in and do the job. At the end of the day, we're not out in critical positions, except for that Braxton kid, that's out in the secondary. He should be back by Monday as well. So he's a really good defensive back, and will bring a lot more to the Razorback secondary than what we've already seen, which I think they've been fine. They've been great. So
It's been impressive.
we're looking good, buddy.
They shut down a very impressive Tennessee receiving corps. Squirrel didn't find a nut. Sorry.
He did
never
not find a
came-
nut.
he
You're
never-
right. Yeah. And I'm telling you, Malachi can get the job done, buddy.
Yeah.
He throws. You saw him on the last drive. He finally got his confidence. It took him a couple of drives to get going, but he got his confidence together. And once he did, that kid can throw bullets. He can run the football. I mean, he's got the talent. I like having him as a backup. He doesn't bother me one bit.
He won the game for us. I like him a lot.
I do too.
Yes.
I
So
do
let's put
too.
him in, Coach.
Well, I mean, look, we don't have any predictions for this week other than I predict that the Hogs will not play football this week.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all I can tell you. I think it'll be a good weekend of football. I'm glad the Hogs are getting a break. It's a well-deserved break, 4-2 going into the break. So couldn't have asked for a better halftime. I mean, I wouldn't have. Shoot, I don't know if any of us would have predicted 4-2
No.
at halftime. So
Yeah.
I did say at the beginning, like you did, we had to have a couple of wins that were not predictable, and we got two. Auburn and Tennessee. So we're going into the second half a lot better off than not.
I agree. Well, this is Halftime Report with Rick DeWeese and George Waddell. We'll see you next time.
Let's go home.